This episode of the Bear and the Beard podcast is brought to you by, well, you.
That's right, Fandomites. We have launched a Patreon for the show, and we're asking you to be a part of it.
We are going to take out only what is necessary to keep the show going and to keep attending live events every month.
And the amount of funds still in the Patreon after that will be donated to our friends over the Children's of Mississippi.
That's right. In return for your generosity, the different tiers will receive different things: spring store discounts, exclusive bonus content, freebies at live events, and more.
So it's a win-win-win.
Shut up and take my money.
You help us keep the cost of the show down, get cool perks, and donate to a great cause.
Sounds simple enough. Join the Patreon today and stay awesome,
stay bearded, and much love.
You didn't say the magic word. You didn't say the magic word.
Back on June 9th in 1993, the Steven Spielberg film Jurassic Park debuted in Washington, D.C. It was then released on June 11th all across the United States. And ever since then, for the past 29 years, the Jurassic Park / Jurassic World franchise has been dominating the dinosaur film franchise market. And who can blame them? They're awesome movies, especially the original. So, with the latest one coming out, Jurassic World Dominion, we thought it was time to sit down and try to take a T-Rex sized bite out of just how awesome this franchise was. So, joined by some of our new friends over at So Geeking Cool and returning familiar faces, we will get into that topic this week with you. But before we do, make sure the raptors are all locked up and make sure that all the genetics are working out correctly. In the words of John Hammond,
welcome to Jurassic Park.
The episode's right after this. Please stand by.
Hey, listen!
This is the Bear and the Beard Podcast Season 3.
Hello there.
Your hosts are just two nerdy guys, talking nerdy things.
That's quite nerdy.
This Nerdtastic Duo sits down every episode, sometimes with friends and guests, to explore a new topic related to nerd or pop culture.
Oh yeah!
They may disagree or argue sometimes, and you may not always agree with them.
I beg your pardon.
But please remember, this show is mostly their opinion with some research and facts added in along the way.
To be fair.
The overall goal is to spread knowledge and love throughout the fandoms and to have fun doing it. Welcome to the conversation. Let's get nerdy with it.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back, or to, for the first time, an episode of the Bear and the Beard podcast. It's What's Going On, Fandomites. I am Robert the Bear. I'm joined, as always, by my majestically bearded, faithful co-host, Bearded Brian Guy, the Beard. Brosius Mayo, my guy.
Yeah, Brosius, my dude, how we doing this evening?
Doing very, very well. Doing very well indeed. Looking forward to talking about this lovely topic that is Jurassic Park, the entire franchise, leading up to, of course, Dominion, coming out right after this episode releases. And to help us do that, we have returning to the show a very familiar face at this point, Jay Nerd Squatch, our social media sorcerer supreme. What's going on, brother?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. You are out of at least the three of us, because I haven't asked our next panelist yet. You're probably the only one that actually read the book out of me, you, and Brian. So we definitely have to talk about that. But before we get there, we are going to introduce our other panelists. Joining us from the So Geeking Cool podcast based out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi, we have Frank, or as I like to call him, the Hattiesburg hero. And we have his son, Solomon. What's going on, guys?
Just happy to be here.
I'm so jealous of your light. Yeah.
Your guys' whole Jurassic Park setup looks amazing. I love it.
Yeah, if you're listening to this and you're not watching this video, you should at least, like, right here, whatever minute segment this is, go over to the YouTube video, fast forward. They have a whole set. They got the Hawaiian print looking couch. They have the Jurassic Park, like, it's amazing. So, but yeah, welcome to the show, guys. As I said, we are here to talk Jurassic Park as a whole. Getting excited for Dominion. And to do that, we're going to kick it off, as we always do every episode, with Mama Bear's Fun Facts.
I don't get paid enough. I don't get paid, period.
And now it's time for Mama Bear's Fun Facts.
That's it. That's all I know.
All right. Mama Bear has actually gotten 6 fun facts for us again, and I think she forgot that we don't have a 6 gift to put up.
I'll just do the 3 and
do the 3 twice. That's fine. First fun fact, knocking out at number 1, is did y'all know that Steven Spielberg was a huge fan of Wayne Knight? Knight is a bit of a scene stealer in his role as the Weasley dentist Nedry, the closest thing to a human villain in the film. These days, Knight is best remembered as Newman on Seinfeld, but that didn't play a role in him getting this role. Spielberg cast him based on his performance in Basic Instinct. In fact, Spielberg was so impressed with Knight in that film that he said that he waited for the end credits to catch Knight's name and had to write it down for future reference. Didn't know that. I love Newman in Seinfeld. I also love his character in Third Rock from the Sun, which is closely related to Newman. There's always been that conspiracy theory that they happen in the same universe because Newman plays that role as well. But yeah, that's really, really cool. I couldn't imagine sitting to the end credits for anything other than a post-credit scene these days, though. Like, that's just me. But, I mean, Marvel has spoiled me for that, so that might be why.
Oh, yeah.
Fun fact number 2. Know your facts. Jurassic Park is a killer title for a movie, and also for a theme park, of course, but it's only a specific period of time. And the park and the film do not stick to it for the dinosaurs we see. Only the Bronchiosaurus and the... this is going to be a problem all episode. Dilophosaurus?
Brachiosaurus and Dilophosaurus.
Yes. Are from the Jurassic time period. The rest of the dinosaurs we see are actually from the Cretaceous period.
Yeah. Okay.
This is why we don't do a fact-based podcast, ladies and gentlemen. This specific reason, because I can barely read.
We got you.
I failed my senior English class. So, yeah. I knew that, I think, going into the movie when I first watched it, but I knew that those were different time periods. But now, of course, it's easy to remember because my kids watch Dinosaur Train, which
I love that show.
I actually do too. I learn a lot from that show.
Yep.
Fun fact number 3. Jeff Goldblum's catchphrase when the T-Rex is chasing down the gang, Ian Malcolm declares, "Must go faster." A few years later, Goldblum played a similar role to Dr. Malcolm in Independence Day. In that film, Goldblum also says, "Must go faster." This time he's being chased by aliens, though. So I don't think I caught that. The connection with the same line by the same actor.
Goldblum is just Goldblum and everything.
Goldblum is amazing. So. If you aren't watching The World According to Jeff Goldblum on Disney Plus, what are you doing?
I haven't seen it, so maybe I should give that a watch.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Think, what was it? What is his role in Thor Ragnarok?
The Grandmaster.
The Grandmaster. Right. Think the Grandmaster coming to Earth and learning about all these other cool things. That's the show, but it's Jeff Goldblum instead of Grandmaster. So
they're essentially the same person.
Well, they are. Yes, yeah. That's true.
I'm still convinced they told Jeff Goldblum, just be yourself. That whole movie.
That's what you do when it's Jeff Goldblum. You hire him to Goldblum.
Supposedly, Taika just went to him and said, "Look, like there's some key lines you have to deliver, but everything else is all you." And a lot of the script for at least Goldblum was impromptu. So that's really good. Good improv. Fun fact number 4. Round these out here. Where's Jimmy? Did you know that Jimmy Buffett actually has a brief flash of a cameo? Appropriately carrying 2 margaritas. A branch of his Margaritaville restaurant chain can also be seen on the Jurassic World City Walk. So that's interesting.
There's a dude who works for Pentagon who got a slot in that scene as well.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, that's interesting.
I know the scene is in.
Oh, that's when they start attacking, right?
Yeah, it's the Pteranodon and Dimorphodon scene.
Yeah. Okay.
And that horrible mosasaur scene that haunts me to this day. That's so brutal. Oh my god.
Fact number 5. In the original Jurassic Park, in the mining scene, it is mentioned that Hammond is spending time with his daughter, Timmy and Lex's mom, because she is going through a divorce. This is further referenced in subtext when a half-traumatized Lex repeats the phrase, "He left us." In Jurassic World, Gray mentions to Zach that their parents are going to get a divorce, thus containing another element of the first movie. The theme of broken families and absent fathers is a trademark of Jurassic Park. Director Steven Spielberg set it up that way. So I did not make that connection, actually. I think because I saw the first one when I was young, so maybe that's why. Or maybe it's also the fact that I'm from a divorced family, so yeah, anyway.
Same.
Love you, Dad, if you ever listen to this episode. Last fun fact number 6. Jurassic World was actually originally going to be about human raptor hybrid soldiers, and I'm glad that Mama Bear put that on there because that is actually something Jay wanted to talk about as we move on, and we will talk about those probably in the episode itself. But thank you, Mama Bear, for those fun facts. Let's get into the meat of the episode. So,
alrighty.
How old was everybody when Jurassic Park, like when you first, not when it came out, Frank, I don't want to date us so much, but when you first remember watching it, like when you first remember it, how old were you?
I remember visiting my dad when I was like maybe 2nd, 3rd grade, when I actually have memory of like watching the movie and paying attention, and I loved it as a kid. And then I never got into it for a while, and then recently, because of this episode, I went back and watched them all, and I love it again.
Right. Pardon my bald head. My other half was just witty. Yeah, I think I was around I had to have been about 5 or 6, but it was one of those things like the original dinosaur that I remember first, of course, is Barney. So it was very different watching Jurassic Park. But
you're telling me that dinosaurs don't jump around singing songs about love and family?
You telling me T-Rexes don't eat lettuce? What? Come on, you're lying.
I feel like I'm actually in the Weird Al Yankovic Jurassic Park song right now.
Oh yeah. Oh, which one was that one? That was
MacArthur Park.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I actually just introduced Mama Bear to Weird Al. Like, she had heard a few of his songs, but she had not heard his catalog. Well, that's easy now that Daniel Radcliffe's playing him and giving us a young-looking Weird Al, so I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to
knowing that Mama Bear's
mustache and a big wig.
Yeah.
Knowing that Mama Bear is just recently discovering that when we do karaoke, I'm going to do a whole bunch of Weird Al songs now.
A long, long time ago.
That's the best one.
I'm fat.
Best one.
I'm still partial to Yoda.
I like Yoda.
Yes. His name was Yoda. Why
I played it yesterday and
Yoda.
was shocked that I still remember every word.
So good songs stick with you. That's
Stuck in the Drive-Thru is his best one, though.
Yeah,
and the longest.
I did like that.
The Bear and I did a really good rendition of Bought It on eBay.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yep.
He started out singing the real song, and I just kind of butted into the chorus.
When did this happen? Did I miss this?
When I was standing around at MobaCon singing random karaoke songs as they popped up on my phone, and I was already losing my voice, but I had my speaker, and I started doing the Backstreet Boys song, and then he just chimed in with the eBay song, and we just went with it. It was great. It's fun. Loved MobaCon, by the way. We didn't talk about that at the top of the episode. MobaCon's so much fun. Thank you, Martha, for having us out there. We look very much forward to coming back next year. And that episode, of course, will be up soon on the Patreon for the live Talking Nerdy if you want to check that out. Me and Jay and Tyler are also going to work collectively on a Mobicon sizzle reel, I guess, for the Bear and the Beard podcast, where we're going to put that together, and we should have that out somewhere. We'll let you know. But that was very much fun. Looking forward to Mississippi Comic-Con, which is in a couple of weeks from the release of this episode. So can't wait for that. And as far as events go, that's pretty much it. But so I said, what did I say? 5 or 6. Beard, you said, how old were you?
Maybe around second grade, maybe. I can't remember
so
for sure.
So yeah,
I was
about 5 or 6.
It was yeah.
Jay, you said
6 or 7.
6 or 7. Yeah. So Frank, how old were you, and then how old was your counterpart there when you introduced him to the park?
I mean, I'll just go ahead and tell you that I am a fossil. So I was 14 when the movie came out. So I saw it at 14.
Okay.
Do you see it releasing day?
I can't remember. I remember I went to see it with my mom, and I remember she actually was a huge film buff, and she loved those terrible claymation dinosaur movies.
Oh yeah.
So when she saw this, I mean, she was really, really blown away. I mean, I was too as a kid, but to see the expression on her face was really cool. Solomon, what were you, 5 or 6?
Yeah, probably. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe.
Okay.
And he's actually read all of the books. Like
I haven't read the second one.
Okay, I hadn't read the second one. He's read all of the one book, and but he just loves it, dude. He plays the video games. He is way more into it than anyone else that I know.
I was playing the Jurassic World Alive, which is their version of Pokemon Go earlier today.
Yeah, I love that. Actually,
Is there a book called Dragon Teeth? Is that what it's called?
For what?
Like, isn't there like after Lost World, didn't Crichton write a book called Dragon Teeth? I haven't read that one.
Well, I think that's just a different franchise.
Okay, I thought it was slightly connected.
Because I think he only wrote 2 Jurassic Park books.
Okay.
I'll have to actually dive into those. I haven't.
Yeah, I've read both
picked
of
up
those.
a book in a long time.
They're not like the movies.
No, they're not. The first one's pretty violent. I remember kind of
I
being
thought the
shocked
movie was
at
pretty
some of the
violent,
content.
but you know,
But
that
like
one
the
goat
Dennis Nedry scene,
got its due. You know,
they cut that whole thing off. The book goes into so much detail and draws that whole hunt out. It is so harsh.
The book opens up with, well, I don't want to spoil it.
I think if they haven't read the book by now, it's okay to spoil.
Malcolm dies in the first book.
Yeah,
longer than the movie.
Malcolm dies in the first book.
Malcolm does not survive the first
But he comes
book.
back in the second book. I know
How does
that.
Wait, he dies when he comes back?
Yep,
Is
magic Malcolm.
Oh, so Jeff Goldblum's a Marvel character. Okay, I got you.
Well, but in the first book, it like opens up with a little girl on the beach, and she gets bit by a raptor, and their raptors are like the size of the compies in the movie, because that's how.
Yeah, they're little raptors.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to like a teenage girl babysitting her like 2-year-old niece or something. And like she just hears crying in the other room, and then it just goes silent. And she goes in the room, and there's like a raptor on the baby's chest eating its face, and it goes into detail about what it's doing.
Wow! And who wrote these books?
Michael Crichton.
We need to check Michael Crichton into a psychiatric ward. I feel like that's
He's like Stephen King with dinosaurs.
I think that was
I don't
actually
remember.
pretty graphic. I think I'm gonna have to put a trigger warning like just before he said that. 'Cause that
One of the books ends with them napalm bombing the island.
Yep.
As they should.
Yep.
This man would agree with that.
Yeah.
Hey, don't even. Hey, we aren't going there. No.
So I do love the fact that Frank brought he pretty much just said he is a fossil. And now I'm thinking we should have called this episode "Interview with a Fossil," but not that I see him as a fossil. But okay, so this is something we don't get to normally ask, but Frank will have an interesting opinion on this. What was the hype like for this movie? Like we know what hype is like now. And I know it can't compare because social media wasn't a thing or anything like that, but what was it like expecting this movie to come out and then going to see it? Much like comparing to like Marvel movies and stuff today.
Yeah, I would say it was heavily advertised. I mean, on television, every third commercial was a Jurassic Park commercial. They had interviews on the Today Show because the technology was so revolutionary to do the CGI. And then, of course, there were all the stories about how the water was creating havoc with the animatronics on the T-Rex. And it really, I mean, there was a lot of hype for that to have been 1993. I mean, that I can't think of any other movie that got the same attention other than the Star Wars prequels. I mean, it was kind of on that same level.
Yeah.
I thought those came out in the 2000s.
They did, but that's what I'm saying comparatively speaking.
Yeah, because that still predates like social media and all that. Like social media didn't come around until what, the late 1990s, early 2000s.
Dude, if social media,
Facebook launched.
If social media had existed back then, could you imagine we could have bullied them into making Anakin Skywalker a totally different character?
True.
You know my theory on that based off of my research of why we got Anakin that way, but that is a different topic.
That's a story for a Star Wars episode.
Exactly. We were talking about
coming up on the anniversary of the first movie.
It was a celebration. It was last weekend. It was Friday.
No, about Jurassic Park. Yeah.
Jurassic Park.
I thought you meant Star Wars.
We did just. It's so funny because they came out around. Yeah, it's really fun. But yeah, no, it's 25
when this
years,
episode releases. When this episode releases, yesterday would have been the day that it initially released, and then tomorrow
Fallen
will
Kingdom
be the day
on the same day.
Yeah, so it's coming on Thursday.
Tomorrow will be the day that the new one would be coming out, because this comes out on the 9th, I believe.
Yeah. The movie comes out on the
10th.
I think it's the 10th. But I imagine it. So it says it's coming out on the 10th, but that probably means it's going to be in theaters on the 9th.
Yeah.
So
25 years of making movies about animals that we have no actual idea what they looked like. I love it.
29
or 28.
And they're now they're like, hey, guess what? None of them had feathers, and I'm like, quit retracting your stuff.
Right.
I keep. It's too much.
Talking about how they fabricate stuff that obviously we don't have any actual, like, it's not like anyone has a real picture of a dinosaur. Talking about that, I loved finding out years later that the voice, the scream, the roar of the T-Rex was made up of like a mixture of like a lion and like 4 or 5 other animals, and then just put through this weird distortion to make that iconic T-Rex roar. I love that.
And don't we think they sounded more like big birds anyway? Yeah. Like they hummed and they made like cooing noises.
I saw a research thing on it where dinosaurs had such a low frequency that they communicated at that we wouldn't even be able to hear it.
Could you imagine that? How terrifying that is, not being able to hear something that big behind you?
I think that was probably what made the first movie so terrifying as a kid, even a 14-year-old kid. I mean, I know the rest of you guys were younger when you saw it, but the fact that the raptors were able to communicate and hunt the way they did.
Oh yeah. And the way they explain it, like they explain it to make you realize this is a beast that's going to be terrifying for these characters to deal with.
Right.
Yeah. And I just so until recently when I rewatched them, I haven't watched these movies since I was a kid. And when I think of Jurassic Park, the original one, the scene that always comes to my mind is Hammond's 2 grandkids hiding from the raptors in the kitchen.
Yep.
Yeah.
That scene is always running in my brain, and just a terror. And those little actors and actresses, they did so good being a child scared of a dinosaur that's going to eat them.
And one of them grew up to play a Queen member.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wait, really?
But that tapping of the claw as a kid, man, that was like terrifying.
The little bark that they met. Ooh,
yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate it.
The scene that comes to my mind is the lawyer in the toilet.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I think everybody cheered for that scene, though.
Poor Gennaro, man.
Well, there's this one edit I saw of it where they changed him into a box of French fries, and when they took a bite out of the lawyer, a couple of French fries were in his mouth.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Huh.
My favorite moment that I think of especially the first movie, because that's obviously what we're talking about. My favorite moment that always comes to mind is the fact that Samuel L. Jackson's in that movie.
Yes.
Yep.
Like just the fact that he's in it comes to mind because I'm like, oh yeah, he was in that, and he wore glasses and had like the curly kind of hair, and I'm just like, because I
the smoking the cigarettes.
I was going to say the chain smoking.
Yeah,
because you don't see that in movies very often.
Nope.
Because cinema's supposed to like demonize that a little bit. I mean, and there's reasons behind that.
And nowadays,
but during that time, it was just common in movies, and so. Yeah,
I love the fact that that he was also the one. He was one of the ones that pointed out the whole "you spared no expense," which we know that was a common theme in the first.
Oh
movie.
yeah,
but it's like you spared no expense, yet we still have trouble doing this and this and this and this and this. Like he was the one that was kind of almost breaking the fourth wall a bit, because he to me was the character that we related to, at least out of Hammond's staff. Because he was the one pointing out all the flaws that all of us as moviegoers, at least now as adults, for me, I can go back and watch that movie and go, he spared no expense, yet this broke down. He spared no expense, yet Newman, and it's not Newman, but it is Newman, he was able to shut this all down, all of it. And like, why is it all wired this way? Why would a simple analyst thing shut everything down? That makes no sense.
This guy was just the villain of the freaking movie, though.
Look,
you didn't say the magic word.
Right. A trigger warning over this one, but like I said, the book goes into like detail in that whole scene.
Is his death more gory?
Oh,
this
it's way
dude
more.
Gets cut open and he's alive the whole time, and he starts feeling something, and he's like, "Oh my god!" And it's like his intestines. He feels his own inside. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah,
you know what? That sounds horrible, but he freaking deserves it.
He did.
In the book, the Dilophosaur that kills him, in the movies they have them all tiny. I don't remember why, but in the book
it was budgeting.
in the book it was like 10 feet tall, because that's how tall they were in real life.
They really were.
And he gets blinded by it.
Yep.
And then like he feels like a warm sensation in his stomach, and he reaches down and like starts picking up his internal organs.
Yep, and then it picks him up by the head. I mean, it eats his face too. It is harsh.
So, one thing that was never brought back up was that little can of shaving cream that had the samples in it. When that went into the mud, I thought that would become a callback in a later movie, and that's never called back to. Was there anything called back to in the book from that?
Well, it was.
Or was that not even there?
It was in the book. He stole embryos, but in the movies, Spielberg put that scene in where you see it covered in mud specifically for a setup for a sequel. But then Crichton released a second book, so they just did that sequel instead.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was supposed to be a setup, but never came to be. Okay.
And we also have to remember too, and this is a good transition into because we've mostly talked about the first movie, and the franchise as a whole a little bit, but we also have to remember that all of the other two movies, as far as I remember, now the second one takes place on the same island, but the third one does not. It's a completely
second one is a different island.
Yeah, second one is a different island.
Second one is Sorna.
Okay.
The third one is back on Nublar. Yes.
No, third one is also on Sorna.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah, because Grant says I never came to this island. I've never been.
The first one is on Isla Nublar. The second and third one are Isla Sorna, and the rest of Jurassic World is back on Nublar, and Fallen Kingdom is, I think, America.
Well, yeah,
yeah, it's both.
Yeah.
Well, I would say about that. So is the second one, right? I mean, the whole. No, they're not in Cuba. They're in California, right?
They're in Cuba.
They're in California, San Diego.
Yeah.
I thought it. Oh, yeah.
That is the only one I haven't watched all the way through. I got the gist of it from what I did watch. I watched up until they were trying to get the blood sample from the T-Rex in the cargo thing. So I saw the fall of the island and all that, and I got the gist. So, and that's what makes me excited for Dominion, because it's like I know that they're on American soil.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, they're everywhere. The movie was filmed in like Canada at some point.
It looks like they're in Italy too.
Italy?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's where.
I mean, we have had 2 movies where the pterodactyls have gotten loose. So
the Tyrannosaurus.
Well, and it's not the first time that they've had a dinosaur on American soil either. Because at the beginning of at the end of the first one, was it the first one? Second one. Yes. They brought the T-Rex back.
Yes.
Yeah. They brought 2 of them.
Yep, a juvenile.
And so the T-Rex was going through, I believe it was Chicago, if I'm not
San
mistaken.
Diego.
San Diego, yes.
And then the third one, the pterodactyls got loose, and that was never addressed. Like, we didn't see a news report in Jurassic World about how this was
here's my thing. Does Jurassic World, like the first one, does that not decanonize the third one? Didn't the main T-Rex die in the first?
No, that's a juvenile T-Rex.
That's a Sorna type. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a big theory that the Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus is in Jurassic World as a skeleton.
Is the skeleton, right, yeah.
And then the T-Rex breaks through the Spinosaurus skeleton to like show that the T-Rex should have won that fight.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love the dinosaur fights. But the common theme I love about these movies, they all kind of have the same thing. And actually, Ian Malcolm brings this up in the second movie, that at first there's the wonder, the beauty of these giant, amazing creatures, and then the screaming and running comes in. And almost every movie has that. You have the moment where the characters are seeing the dinosaurs for the first time, and they're just amazed because it's this beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And
even when they're taking care of the Triceratops and stuff, like, it's
my God.
It's all
Ellie Sattler was amazing.
Yeah, it's this beautiful moment, and then you're right. The
screaming and running
get
always
bared,
starts.
and the screaming and the running starts. Yeah.
Well, since we're quoting Dr. Malcolm, like he says, when Pirates of the Caribbean break down, they don't eat the tourist.
Yeah, right. I did love that reference to the Disney theme parks, because it makes them canon in the Jurassic Park world.
And it's crazy.
That Jurassic Park had to compete with Disney.
Exactly.
Well, then you got to think about it, because if Disney exists, then Universal would exist, and they have the Jurassic Park ride.
Dude, Solomon just broke my mind.
Well, actually, now they have 3 Jurassic Park rides. So.
You know, they could pull a Marvel, where like the Marvel comics exist in the Marvel universe. The Jurassic Park movies exist based off of the actual real events in the universe.
Yeah, they do documentaries in that movie.
Universal Studios had to reach out to Hammond and his estate to get permission to make Jurassic Park rides, since they couldn't build Jurassic Park.
Well, do you think they would have had to reach out to the new owner to get permission to update the ride in California to Jurassic World?
Oh yeah, no, that's true. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had to reach out to the estate. Who I can never remember that character's name.
Well,
he showed up in Jurassic World.
Well, Ms. Ronnie was the person who did own it, and then he died.
Yeah,
and then it went to the
Lockwood, or no? What was Lockwood's thing?
He helped create the dinosaur.
Yeah, he was with Hammond.
Yeah.
Claire left Engine.
Yeah.
And I think Engine is. I don't know who it's owned by now.
Right, because
you had the one guy where I think
whoever Wilson Fisk's character is.
Well, no, he got killed.
He got eviscerated, man.
Oh, that's right. Wait, no, when did that happen? That happened in the first.
Yeah,
Jurassic
the raptor
World, right?
ate him.
Yeah, Charlie ate him. I think it was Charlie.
That guy was pushing his luck the whole movie. Actually,
loved him being in it.
Always pushing his luck.
Right.
I think I hate him more than Nedry.
I'll tell you who I hate more than all of them. I hate this gentleman right here that you have a picture of. Where is he? This guy right here.
Henry
Wu.
Yeah.
I love that he's in
supposed
the
to be
old
on the
ones
good
and
side,
in the new ones.
Yeah.
Narcissist scientist.
And I love that they're getting that this new one we're getting, that's going to be like a culmination of all of it coming together. We get to see Alan Grant come back, and he's got his iconic hat. We got Dr. Ian Malcolm coming back. I mean, it is just going to be one heck of a movie. Plus, you have the newcomers, Chris Pratt as Owen, who is just incredible, by the way. I love his relationship.
So I do. Okay, I'm a Chris Pratt fan. I've liked him since Parks and Rec. I love him in Marvel. I'm not one of those fanboys that thinks he should be in everything, but I love him in this film mostly because they then made fun of him being in this film where he got to play in the Lego movie this character, essentially. They merged all of his Chris Pratt roles into one character for the Lego of the second part, and it was just hilarious. Like, he was a space explorer, raptor trainer or whatever. It was hilarious.
Now, one thing I will say about his character to me is this is just the dinosaur speaking, who belongs in a museum. You guys, this younger generation, it wasn't enough to have dinosaurs. You had to add Indiana Jones / Rick O'Connell to your movie to add a little spice to it. I mean, come on.
Right.
Well, honestly,
you had to have the human drama,
Frank. I always saw Owen as kind of a mix between Ian and
Alan.
I always saw him as a mix between them.
Yeah.
Because and also a little bit of Ellie Sattler. Because
he actually cares about them. Yeah.
He finds wonder in them, but he also respects them as the beasts and dangerous things that they are, and he's extremely educated about them. So he's kind of a mix of all of those main characters from the first one.
With just a dash of the Australian guy who was like the hunter from the first one, like the game warden.
No, not Dodgson. Muldoon.
Yeah.
Robert Muldoon.
It's mostly the shorts. That's why it's the shorts.
The shorts.
Well, with callbacks, if you've seen, have you seen the trailers for the new movie? When the Carnotaurus is shown, if you watch the Camp Cretaceous series on Netflix, he loses one of his horns or part of it at some point in it, and in the new movie, he doesn't have that horn.
Oh, that's awesome! Yeah,
so they're making that essentially canon.
He's all charred from like the explosions from the new show.
That's awesome.
I love it when films do that. Like, we've seen that in the Marvel universe, especially, and I love that that's carrying over to other franchises because I don't want Marvel to have a monopoly on that. They need to know, these other franchises need to know this works. Do a television series, and then when you do the next movie after that, call back to it, reference it. It makes sense to do it.
I'm praying we get some Clone Wars Anakin and Obi-Wan in Obi-Wan.
The only problem with that is going to be that you have to pay to see the shows all the time, and so you're going to have people who aren't going to want to pay for that, and then they're not going to understand the new movies.
Well, as we've said about Marvel, especially like Disney, Ryan George said it best. It's like, so what's this new episode of the Marvel Cinematic Universe all about? Are we just going to jump right into it? Well, no, sir. I thought we'd do some prequel stuff for the people that didn't watch the television shows. Why? We don't care about those people. If they're not watching our movies or our shows by now, we don't care. Just jump right into it. Let's go. Yes.
Multiverse of Madness, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly.
There is a trope with Owen in these movies. There's always got to be a scene where he's riding a motorcycle with raptors.
Well, that's because he's a good guy.
Yeah.
That's what good guys do.
And I also love the fact that the shotgun that he carries is in the real world, in our world, on that company's website. That specific model of weapon is rated to take down a T-Rex.
No.
Yeah. So I love the advertising aspect of it.
I don't think it's like a joke. I think like they did research and figured out what it would take to stop something that size.
They might have, and even if they didn't, you can't prove them wrong.
That's true. It's in the movie.
You can't put MythBusters on that case to find out whether that gun could actually take down a T-Rex or not.
Do you think that motorcycle he's driving on their website's faster than a raptor?
I don't know, because Oh, well, we know raptors can only get up to like 70, so I would say
the raptors are slowing down for him. They want to keep up with him.
Yeah,
it has to be faster because he's being chased by raptors in the trailer for the new one, so he's got to outrun them.
Well, I think that's a different type of raptor.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
Well, because they're already later in the trailer. You have, I don't know if this is the right dinosaur, but I think it's the Deinonychus, which is a different type of raptor. It's the one that has the feathers that like dives under the ice.
Oh yeah,
that's a kind of raptor.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know a whole lot about dinosaurs. I just see big things with
the velociraptors.
You know what you need to watch? You need to watch the dinosaur train. The dinosaur train.
The velociraptors in this franchise are actually more akin to what we would call a Utah raptor.
Yeah.
They're larger. They're huge. They weren't really that big. They were turkey-sized animals.
The only fully complete skeleton of a velociraptor that we have, I think, is locked. Its skeleton was locked in combat with a thing called, I think it's called a something ceratops. It's
Protoceratops, right?
Yeah.
It's a velociraptor and a protoceratops.
I was gonna say that, but I thought it was microceratops.
I thought that's where you were going.
Yeah.
All right. We see who the two real dinosaur nerds are, right? That's awesome.
Well,
I love the fact that he said something Triceratops because it just reminds me of another thing that that Owen said in the movies. It's like, so we should just let these companies start naming it like the Verizon Saurus.
Exactly. Yeah. The 5G. Or I don't know.
What was the name of
Giganotosaurus.
What was the name of the big creature in Jurassic World?
Indominus Rex.
The Indominus
Rex. Because it tested well in test groups.
Yeah.
And then it ate its sister.
See, I'm dinosaur. What more do they need?
I'm old enough that when I was a kid, the only dinosaurs we knew about were T-Rexes, Stegosauruses, Triceratops, and pterodactyls, and brontosaurus.
Land Before Time, here. I'm with you.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, pteranodons and pterodactyls aren't the same thing.
Yeah, Pteranodon was a big.
One of them had tails and teeth, and the other one didn't.
To us, if it had wings, it was a pterodactyl.
Well, they're called pterosaurs. They're not considered dinosaurs.
We could talk about Quetzalcoatlus. That thing was.
That's in the trailer.
What's the name of that huge thing that takes down the plane?
It's a Quetzalcoatlus.
Oh, that's what you guys were talking about. Okay.
They're huge. They're massive.
They're not even the biggest. The biggest is Hexagopteryx.
The closest descendant we have to those supposedly is the condors, because those are the biggest birds. So that's why they try to connect that to the pterodactyls and those other flying, the flyers, as Land Before Time used to call them. They were just flyers.
Right.
They weren't pterodactyls. They were flyers. They were long necks, trihorns, and
shark tooths.
Shark tooths.
Yeah.
That's my dinosaur knowledge. I'm just over here like, you talking about the shark tooth now? Are we talking about the shark tooth?
Well, they called leaves tree stars.
When does Littlefoot show up?
When does Jurassic Park meets meets Land Before Time? Just, I need that fan film now.
That's awesome. Hey, Bear in Nerd Squatch, you guys remember our trip to Jurassic Park?
Yeah, real fun.
We got to the gates and we had to turn around because the T-Rex was there.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
We got a quick photo though.
Speaking of trips to Jurassic Park, let me pose this question to the panel. If Jurassic Park was a real thing, all the bugs were worked out and operated exactly like Hammond envisioned it should. So essentially how Jurassic World worked for however long it was open before the events of the first movie, how much would you pay to take a trip to go to Jurassic Park World, whatever? How much would you pay if you would at all?
It's probably a similar price to a zoo.
I would pay about the same amount that it costs to go on the Disney Intergalactic Star Cruiser that they just opened.
Okay.
I would pay that to go see actual dinosaurs.
Whatever it takes to see a Carnotaurus and its useless arms. Whatever it takes.
Yeah, well, I mean...
I love those
If I had
things.
the money, I'd go see it.
Yeah.
Now, okay.
Upwards of like 100, probably.
It'll be the same price as a Hamilton ticket.
Yeah,
I got a kind of question. Let's say that they have two separate parks. They have Jurassic Park exactly as it was in the first movie, except for no dinosaurs are going to escape. And then they have Jurassic World in all of its technology. Which one would you want to go see?
Jurassic World.
I'd want to go see Jurassic Park because it'd probably be cheaper.
I'd say Park too.
Well, the reason I'd say World is because you have the gyrospheres.
The gyrospheres.
I want to ride in the Jeep though. I want to ride in the Jeep.
See, I'm with you. I like the Jeep better.
The problem with the Jeep is you couldn't get like up close and get with the dinosaurs.
Yeah,
and
that's my point. Yeah.
yeah. There's a certain distance that would make me feel a lot more comfortable.
They only had the safe dinosaurs with the gyrospheres. They had
See, if they had
but if you
both
startle that thing and cause a stampede, you're like a ping pong.
They were like bulletproof.
The safe dinosaurs.
I love that
They're all
Ryan
bigger
Mallett
than
had a
us.
cameo in that movie to explain what the gyrosphere was. I do have to say that. I love Jimmy Fallon being
You
in
seen
that movie.
the Lego game for Jurassic World?
No, I haven't. I
have it.
I haven't played it yet.
It's pretty fun. Their cutscenes are a lot funnier. They have a special mode. You have to get it through like their version of Red Bricks, or maybe it's just you enter in a cheat code. But it's called Nedry mode. And they have one called, I think it's either called Malcolm mode or Goldblum mode. Every piece of dialogue gets turned into Ian Malcolm's laugh from the first helicopter ride. And the Nedry mode, everybody puts on a Hawaiian flannel and wears his shorts.
Yeah, and as much as you guys are hating on him, he did give us a great meme.
Yeah.
See, nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. No, I love him. I love the fact that he was the villain, but I loved him.
He doesn't like the third sister. He doesn't. See, nobody cares.
Right.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. On the park or world thing, I compare that to Jurassic World would be San Diego Comic-Con. And then like Jurassic Park would be like our local cons, like Mississippi Comic-Con. In comparison, like they're both cons, they both have big stars, but which one is more obtainable? Like for me to go to, I'm gonna go to my local con instead of trying to invest millions of dollars to go to because I've always been one of those guys that also doesn't jump. I don't jump on the bandwagon very often. Like the best example I can give for this, and I know this is nowhere near on topic, but Justin Bieber, like when his music was really popular when he first came out, I hated him. When I listened to his songs after he started releasing actual like adolescent music and listened to his old stuff, I was like, okay, this sounds pretty good. But I didn't jump on the bandwagon then, and I don't plan to now.
So the only reason I hated on Justin Bieber was because it was popular to hate on Justin Bieber. That's the only reason I hated on him. But I hated on him. I hated on him hardcore.
You were speaking about finances and what would be more expensive, and there's a really important part in the first Jurassic Park movie where John Hammond tells, I think, Donald Gennaro that they're not charging out the ass for this. Sorry, but yeah.
Language. Hey.
We have it somewhere. We have it somewhere.
Oh no, where is it?
For gosh sake, watch your language. That's not going away anytime soon.
But yeah, he tells him they should be seen by everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say Jurassic Park would be the cheaper option.
Well, but then you got to think about Jurassic World with all its technology would have a better way to get to the island, so it'd probably be cheaper because they'd have better transportation.
The way I look at it,
John Hammond would try to get people there somehow.
Yeah.
The way I look at it is going to be like the way Universal Studios is now. You've got classic Universal, and then you've got Islands of Adventure. So there may be a park hopper option where you can go check out classic Jurassic Park, and if you don't get eaten, then you can go check out the other one.
If you don't get eaten, yeah, sure.
They could do it Disney and like
if you don't get eaten, you could also go home.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, can we take a second to acknowledge one of the coolest things about the first film was Dino DNA.
Yep, that's in the Lego game too.
I want to cosplay Mr. DNA so bad, like wear a black morph suit and get foam balls.
Yes.
Well,
he's also helped me make that.
Yeah, he is.
There's a very small moment where you can see, like,
he's the hologram.
When they first get to Jurassic World, there's a hologram of it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't call major attention to it, but you can see him.
I just want to know, what state did the guy come from? Was he? I mean, is that Texas accent? I'm not sure. I mean,
sure either.
Well, with that hologram thing, that's the Dilophosaurus from the first movie, which killed Nedry. That type of dinosaur never came back, despite being like one of the most iconic things from the entire franchise. Didn't come back until that, like, the split second it was in Jurassic World, and then now in the new.
Sweet. Have you guys? Oh, go ahead.
So go ahead.
I was going to ask, have you guys been to Universal Studios to the Jurassic Park area?
I've never been to Universal. I've never been to Disney. I've never been to anything cool like that.
Oh, okay.
I've been. I went to Islands of Adventure back in 9th grade, so that was early 2000s, and we did Islands of Adventure. But I mostly stayed. I did do the Jurassic Park water ride, the classic one, but that was the only Jurassic Park ride I did. That was before they did the whole Jurassic World came out, and they did the ride the motorcycles through the jungle with the raptors and all that. I haven't been back. I plan to take my kids at some point to both parks, but I got to figure out when the best time to do that is, because they're all age gapped. So I have to figure out like the best time to do it. I want to take the team down. Like, I just want to go do a team building thing where it's like, hey, fandom family, come, let's all. I was going to tell you, we want to go when you go.
Yeah, I want to go to Disney. Sure. Like, the coolest 2 things I've ever gone to was Mississippi Comic-Con, and then I put in that first because that's something I have only been to once. And then I've been to the Henley Dorley Zoo more times than I can count, because that's just here in Nebraska. And that's one of the coolest zoos in the world.
Right. I've been to the Birmingham Zoo. It was pretty cool.
I love the St. Louis Zoo.
I went to the Rosamond Gifford Zoo in New York.
Henley Dorley Zoo is the biggest zoo in the country. So the fact that I still don't think it's big enough and it's always expanding, that makes me feel like any other zoo would just disappoint me.
Yeah,
probably.
I've always enjoyed the Audubon Zoo down in New Orleans, but there's this one part where you go and there's like a little restaurant on the bayou and you can see alligators that aren't part of the exhibit, and that's a little weird.
Yeah. I bet.
He's like, yeah, they're not here because the zoo wants them here.
You stay away down there, son. Yeah, I see you like looking at me like I'm food, but I'm eating right now. So
we talked about this a little bit before recording, but one of the characters I actually liked, and they kind of had an ish reaction to, because she's technically a clone, is Macy Lockwood. And that's when I think it was Bear who brought up the original concept for where things were gonna go.
No, that was Jay. And that's why I'm glad that the 6th fun fact was that one of the movies was supposed to be raptor human hybrids. Because I for me, and I'm gonna say this, and then I want to turn it over to Jay to talk about this. But for me, one of the most cliche things that a science fiction anything can do is clone. Anything. Now, I love the idea like Rick and Morty. There's multiple versions of Rick, out in the multiverse. Same thing in Marvel. But when you go clone, it feels to me, not that there aren't good franchises out there that have done it.
Hey, you and me, I saw you. We both got giddy when Tim Morrison showed up on Obi-Wan. Don't you lie.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the franchises that did clones well, because they gave them all separate identities and they gave them a purpose. There was a reason for the clones. But if it's not done well and it's done too much, and this franchise was supposed to be about dinosaurs, why are you giving us human cloning? Why is this a thing? That's why I say I just had a slight issue with it as a story point. But do I think it's kind of a cool idea that was, kind of the reason he wanted to go down this genetic exploration? Yes. Did it need to be a story point? In my opinion, not so much.
Well, but, for me, if they did multiple characters, like there's like a clone army and they focused on tons of clones, to me that would feel like it was weird. But having one character that shows what they did with the dinosaurs, because the dinosaurs are technically as much of a clone as she is.
Yeah.
They basically showed what they did with the dinosaurs they can do with humans too.
Yeah.
And I liked I liked that they showed that was an option. If they focused the story completely on that and like had lots of clone issues, then I would think that was ridiculous.
Just to throw in the Star Trek connection, do you like Gorn? Because this is how you get Gorn.
This is how you get Gorn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I want to throw in something a little off topic with the whole cloning thing and you want to see dinosaurs, not people. That's kind of like everybody's big complaint with the Godzilla movies and the monster movies like that.
Why do we have human drama in a kaiju movie?
I just finished watching Prehistoric Planet. It's a dinosaur document. It's so much better than any because I like the animal. I'm not here for people.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like the human story to a point. Like I think the way they did it in King Kong versus Godzilla was all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was because they learned their mistake from the previous 2 Godzilla movies.
True.
They made it too
was
much
made
about
to be
the
right.
humans. It's like, I thought we were supposed to be watching a Godzilla movie. Why is he only showing up for like 20 seconds fully on screen? This is a movie called Godzilla. We saw him for 20 seconds.
Well,
What is
And Bryan Cranston, who was hyped up through the
I
whole
love
promo.
Cranston. I want him to play a Stan Lee in a Stan Lee biopic.
Mark Maron.
Oh, Mark
right.
Maron would be really good too.
Just to get in the way back machine and go back to the Godzilla that came out in the 90s that they did.
All right, Rocky and Bullwinkle, I hear you.
I know, but you want to talk about another movie that got a ton of hype. I mean, you had the Taco Bell commercials, the crossovers,
Oh, yeah.
and then you go to watch this movie, at least I did as a kid, and you get Matthew Broderick and some French army guy, and you're like, where's Godzilla? Like, this is supposed to be about Godzilla.
Wasn't the French army guy the same guy from Incredible Hulk? Wasn't that the same guy that plays Abomination?
No. It was
No, who was that?
no, it's the guy from The Professionals.
Okay,
The
no, that's
Professional.
The other guy was in something else. I saw
Well,
recently.
with the 2014 Godzilla movie, the one that's just called Godzilla, the reason that they didn't have him on screen all the time was to build up more suspense around him, because it was his introductory movie technically. Because that's starting.
And I love the comparison to that too, because when you watch the old shows, like the Kid Godzilla or Godzilla Jr., whatever it was called,
Gadzuki.
Yeah, they made it a point to have Godzilla be in every episode at least once. Like, it was so funny. But yeah, that's the case with Jurassic Park for me. Is I'm watching this to watch the dinosaur fights, as Brian said. Like, that's my favorite part. One of my favorite things about them reviving the franchise and putting out the new movies, Jurassic World, was to see where they went with it, because they built back up the actual vision that Hammond had, and then it fell apart, as it always does, because of human interaction. As you know, Dr. Malcolm would say, life finds a way. So, and I love that he also came back in the second Jurassic World movie to say, I said the same thing. I'm gonna, life finds a way, but at this point we should let it happen, and y'all aren't wanting to.
Well, then he said we should kill him.
It kind of goes back to the joke I was making about having to throw Chris Pratt's character in the movie to make it more exciting. I mean, by the time Jurassic World comes around, we're having to do hybrid dinosaurs to make it more exciting, because you can only see the T-Rex so many times. And it's a very good statement on how we as a society are.
Yeah, you can only feed it one goat so many times.
The next evolution of the goat thing is they put you in there.
Yep.
Like they do with the shark cages, where they
the shark cages
drop you underwater.
Yeah.
They put you in there.
Oh my goodness! I didn't think of that.
So Jay,
swimming with the dolphins, swimming with that giant freaking alligator dinosaur thing.
The
Mosasaur.
Well, that would kill you.
So Jay, I have to ask if you know a lot about that plot with the cloned raptor people. Were they going to be on the dinosaur side of things or on the people side of things?
So the idea is that Hoskins, who is Vincent D'Onofrio's character, was going to be selling the embryos to the military, and they were going to be creating these things to fight in Afghanistan and Saudi Arabia, overseas, and fight our wars. So they were going to be like controlled things.
So they kind of still did that. They just didn't combine the human and the
exactly.
dinosaur.
It's just they were going to do it with dinosaurs.
It's this guy having a relationship with a dinosaur. Like,
yes,
he works so well with Blue. And that must have been the way they went with it. Yeah.
I love that Blue was the key too in the second movie. Like, she was the key. And it wasn't Owen, it wasn't Claire, it was Blue. But to get to Blue, they had to bring the characters back from the first one and go, you know, she's alive, we need to go get her. But Blue was the key. Now the rest of the dinosaurs, they were like, yeah, we're gonna bring them, but Blue's the key for our project. It gave me such when I found out about that theory about the raptor soldiers, it gave me such vibes from this is a callback of ours back to our Invincible episode, the dead undead soldiers, the machine guys that they sent after Omni-Man. Like, it gave me those vibes when I found that, and I'm like, yeah, but this franchise doesn't need that. It needs more big dinosaur fights.
Well, and have y'all heard the theories about Jurassic Park or Jurassic World combining with like Fast and Furious? There's people who want that for some ungodly reason.
That's a franchise we haven't talked about for a reason.
I'm really glad I went and rewatched these movies, because when I would list franchises that are just, they have too much stuff going on and too much stuff, like they're running the franchise into the ground, I used to list Jurassic Park / Jurassic World as one of those franchises. And I'm so glad I went back and watched it, because I don't view it the same way as like Transformers and Fast and Furious, where they're just too much.
I like Bumblebee.
Bumblebee was good, because it wasn't a Transformers movie, it was a Bumblebee movie.
But it was a G1 movie, and that was all that mattered to me.
Thank you.
It was a G1 movie.
Optimus Prime finally looked like he should.
In August.
They all finally looked like they should, and you could see what they were doing when they were fighting.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my god, it was a gift.
That's what we need to do. We need to do a Transformers episode.
I'm such a Transformers dork. I'll talk about it forever.
Beast Wars too, because we're supposed to be getting a live action Beast Wars movie soon.
Yes.
So if y'all had the option to have the relationship that Owen has with Blue, would you want to have a relationship with a raptor like that?
Specifically a raptor, or with like,
or with any
dinosaur?
Any creature except for like the big like T-Rexes and stuff like that, because that's
so like not the kaiju size, but like anything that we
They're only like a couple hundred.
He's almost kaiju size. If I could have a relationship like that with a Triceratops, I would. Like an actual like old school, like, because that I think that'd just be cool. Kind of like it's the callback to the first movie where they were taking care of the sick one. You know, it's like, I could dig a Triceratops because it's an herbivore. Like, I'm not worried about it biting my face off.
Well,
I am worried about it stepping on me or hitting me with its tail, but I'm not worried about it biting my face off.
The one that I would think would be a good one, if what I'm thinking could happen, is the Ankylosaurus. It's the one that had the plates on its back and it had the club tail.
The club tail. Yeah.
Oh, the one that's described like being like a tank.
Yeah. The only way to flip it over. I would want one of it, because if you roll it into a ball, could it like roll itself down the street really fast?
Like hedgehog style?
Like an armadillo?
Like just pull a tonic.
The amount of destruction that would cause, but that would still look so cool.
Well, then just think about it. And then, if anybody ever tries to attack you, just roll into a ball. You'll be fully covered by the osteoderms.
Just be like, hey, Tank, take him out! Just roll under it.
But then you'd have to name it.
Tank.
I'd name him Tank. I would name him Tank.
Well,
I would name my Triceratops Tank too, to be fair.
You could just copy what they did in Camp Cretaceous, the Netflix show, and just name it Nubby.
Nubby.
I would either name my Triceratops Tank, or I would name it Billy, because of the blue Power Ranger. Oh yeah, no, I definitely would.
I would do it, but I would want like a pterodactyl, just so I could ride on its back. Because I've seen that like in all those like Land of the Lost and that kind of stuff. Like
Dragon Rider style.
Yeah, we'll just put a saddle on the back of it, or
like Avatar, because those are essentially pterodactyls in Avatar. Yeah.
Now that gas prices are so high, we'll just take the pterodactyl to work.
The pterodactyl.
Well, how
yeah.
big would be one of the big ones? Like, how big?
You could do that with a raptor too.
Oh, yeah.
Well, a raptor would be small.
The only thing, the pterodactyl would also have some comedic effect because you know what birds do to cars now. So that would be kind of.
Just
Oh my god!
jab it in
Imagine
the
living in
real quick.
living in an area that's like high in pterodactyls flying around. They start pooping on your car.
Yep.
Instead of it just being like a little smudge on your windshield, your car's destroyed now.
Right. It just
You need pterodactyl insurance.
We as a civilization would have to space out again. Like no more suburbs, no more subdivisions. Just we all have to have at least like 4 acres of land apiece because we cannot live in close communities because pterodactyl poop is a thing.
Well, would it be like a birthright that you get a dinosaur? Like they add a new amendment where it's like when you're born, you pick a dinosaur and you get it.
All right, I like where your head's at. We're gonna have this kid back on the episode. Like I love this guy.
Because then like
any speculations for the new movie?
I hope it's the last one. That's my only speculation.
It is the last one
in the series.
They said it's supposed to be the last one.
Yeah, but they say that all the time.
Yeah.
Well,
that's what Tom Holland said about No Way Home, and now look, Sony's decided to deal with him to do more Spider-Man movies.
Well, for Spider-Man, Marvel's supposed to buy Spider-Man, or Apple's supposed to buy Sony. One of those things is going to go down, and then they're going to get Spider-Man either way.
That's what I've said from the beginning. Sony is fighting a losing battle.
Yeah.
They really are.
We've had that conversation a lot.
Well, what I can't understand.
Oh, I'm sorry, Frank. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say Sony should have taken the hint when they got bullied into re-releasing Morbius, and it fell flat on its face.
Yep.
I still haven't watched Morbius, and I don't really know if I plan to. There's probably elements I would like. Same with the Venom movies, but
I did watch it. It's worth at least one watch as a comic book fan. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
I've heard
there were elements that were hard to watch, but not anything that you can say you shouldn't watch this movie. If you're a comic book fan at all, I'd say give it at least one watch.
I'm going to watch it as a Matt Smith fan.
There you go.
That's what I did.
He's great in it, actually. He's really good. Jared Leto did good too, but all I could hear when I heard him talk was that creaky door laugh. So.
Speaking of Doctor Who actors that really kill it when it comes to Marvel properties, dude, David Tennant as in Jessica Jones was just unbelievably creepy.
He is the main reason I want them to bring the actual Jessica Jones that was Netflix into the MCU as canon, just so that we can have him somehow come back to life, or an alternate version of him from an alternate reality coming to mess with Jessica, because their chemistry was so good. So good.
Oh,
so Kilgrave dies, I guess.
Do you think
at some point in the second season, it is speculated that he is dead?
Right.
That is the best thing I can say. Yeah, because they left it kind of open-ended.
Didn't Phase 5 confirm that Secret Wars is going to be coming out as a movie?
Yeah.
Well,
that means that they're going to make Miles Morales a thing.
Into the Spider-Verse already did that for me.
Now, I don't want to get too far off the topic with the Marvel stuff, but if I was...
No, that's our whole show. We did we do this all the time. Yeah, no.
If I was behind that chair, I would use this reset with the multiverse to bring back all of the major villains that you killed off way too easily. Red Skull would be coming back. You would have Crossbones coming back and do him properly. I mean, that's kind of the big complaint with every superhero movie.
Crossbones for like 5 minutes of a movie, and that was fair. Yeah.
I can't wait until they bring Vulture back into the MCU, because I have a theory about what Sony does. I don't think Sony asked Marvel for permission to do the things that they do. It's the same with bringing Eddie Brock Venom from their universe into the MCU. It felt to me like they were trying to make the MCU use him, and they're like, okay, we're gonna use him in an after credit scene for like 10 seconds and then throw him back. And so I hope they do the same thing with Vulture, because they stole Vulture away from the MCU and put him in a whole other universe.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so I hope that the MCU addresses that by, he's just going to pop back over again now.
That would be interesting. Talking about characters we haven't seen before, I guess to bring it back on topic to kind of round out the episode here. And I think we'll ask this for our Talking Nerdy segment. Let's get into that real quick.
Hello, can you hear me?
Each episode, the Bear and the Beard ask a question that they want your input on, along with sharing comments, suggestions, and other things they have already collected. They love to hear from their fans, so let's get nerdy with it.
All right, I actually just came up with this off the top of my head. You're Talking Nerdy question for this week, and I'm going to ask our panel to answer this. Out of the 3 returning main cast from the first movie, which one are you most excited to see? Now, we've seen Ian Malcolm already come back, but for this movie specifically, for Dominion, which one of the 3 are you most excited to see return? And we'll start with my majestically bearded co-host, The Beard.
So I'm excited for all of them, of course, but the one I'm most excited for is Ellie Sattler. She is iconic, and I cannot wait for her to bring her knowledge and expertise back.
Crucial part of the third movie, too. We talked about that off of recording, how crucial of a role she actually played in that film without barely being in it.
And I love her friendship with Alan Grant.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
that is good. Jay, out of those 3.
I am terrified that I'm going to lose him, but Ian Malcolm, yeah, very much so. I'm terrified something horrible is going to happen, but
no, nothing horrible is going to happen to him. He's bulletproof. He's fine. I do love the fact that that's a thing. They made that into a pop, and I think Han Brolo has it. The lounging Ian Malcolm.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a pop, and it's
we got to get one for Nerd Squatch.
Yes. I'm also going to go with Ian Malcolm just from the trailer that I saw, where he's actually he's talking to the 2 of them again.
Oh,
he's
like,
look at me, look at you,
look at me.
Yeah, it's so odd. And then he has the moment where his shirt's unbuttoned. He's like, oh, and he buttons it up real quick. Great callback, and I'm looking forward to his expertise. He was probably my favorite part of Fallen Kingdom, or at least the half that I saw of it. So yeah, I want him to come back and be full-fledged a character again. He actually had a cameo in the first Jurassic World. It was just a picture of him because he was on the cover of his own book that he had written, and the nerdy guy in the control center had it.
I love that they all wrote books. Because Alan Grant was asking some character in the third movie whose book he liked more, and he liked Alan's book more.
He's like, I liked your book more. You actually, talked about the dinosaurs as if they were real things or something like that, and it spoke to his experience on the island. Frank Solomon, what out of those 3 characters, which are y'all more keen to see return from the original film?
Ian Malcolm.
Ian
Malcolm wins again.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say the same thing just because, dude, the best line to me in all of Jurassic Park is God creates dinosaurs, God kills dinosaurs, God creates man, man kills God, man creates dinosaur. I mean...
Or
and also when he said, I'm always looking for the future ex Mrs. Malcolm.
Yeah.
I mean...
Well,
and I loved his relationship with his daughter in the second movie. That was awesome.
I really do hate that, man.
I like his yeah, the second movie is really bad, but you have his quote from the first movie where you spend too much time thinking.
Oh yeah, your scientists were more worried about whether they could, and they didn't stop to ask whether they should. Yeah, love that.
I kind of liked the second one. It was slow in some areas, but
the fact that Matthew Vaughn's in that movie and everyone forgot about that.
The thing I liked about it was Ian is the last person who ever wants to go back to this island. I mean, none of them want to go back to the island, but he really does not want to go back to this island. And then people he cares about happens to be going back to this island, and that's the only reason he goes where he never wanted to go again.
Right.
Well, I mean, the third one personally is my favorite, even though it has the super unrealistic Spinosaurus fights with the T-Rex. Because the Spinosaurus jaw was made for spearfishing, and T-Rex was made for crunching down on other dinosaurs. So,
and one of them was a lot lower to the ground than they portray it to be. So one of
I'm
them
actually
was more
surprised that Bear's answer wasn't Alan Grant.
All right, look, and here's my thing with Grant. I loved him in the first one, obviously.
He's great.
I loved him in the third one, but I feel like I got enough Grant. And that's just me personally. Not to say I'm not excited that he's coming back. He's just not who I'm looking forward to the most out of those three. But I feel like all of Grant's character was collected in those two films. And they're going to have to branch out, or it might just be the fact, like the nostalgia of having him back and him having a viewpoint on them being on American soil. That is going to be very interesting. But it's not my most look forward to character return. So
I feel like
I'm definitely looking forward to seeing where he's at now. Because the last time we saw him, he was struggling with his research because, no one cares about it anymore because there's real dinosaurs. And it looks like in the trailer that he's still doing the same work.
Well, he loves playing in the dirt. So,
can we take a second to acknowledge how great the scene was where he takes the raptor claw and scares the crap out of that kid?
Oh, it was so good. And then breathing through the 3D printed raptor
that was
throat. Cool. That was really cool too. But yeah.
I have a personal theory that I'm making. I feel like they're trying to bring in every single military branch in the series. Because in Jurassic Park 3, they had the Marines show up. In Jurassic World, Owen and his partner, I don't remember his name, I think it was like Barry or something. He's from the Navy. They got they have the plane in the new movie, and it looks like a military plane, so maybe they have the Air Force coming in there. And then
as long as they don't bring the Space Force in, I think we'll be alright.
Well, they brought in the Army. They brought in the Army because they said the Indoraptor was made to fight with armies, so...
Yep. And then there was the Coast Guard, and was there at the end of the third one. The Coast Guard, the Marine, because they brought a lot of the military branches in just to save Grant, because that was what Ellie had done. So
that's what's going to happen. Is they're going to this is my prediction. Totally not going to happen, but they're going to bring in the Space Force to collect the Raptor human hybrid. They're going to go into space with this, and the Gorn is going to show up in the 23rd century.
Oh my god!
I've tied it all together.
Jurassic Park set up Star Trek the whole time.
Right. It was a prequel the whole time.
Jurassic Park did what the Sonic movies did.
Yeah, that'll take us out of our Talk Nerdy segment. Let's play that outro music.
Be sure to send in your response to this week's Talk Nerdy topic, and any other nerdy stuff like episode topic suggestions, fan theories, or cosplay photos so we can put it in future episodes. If you think it's nerdy, we want you to share it. The Talk Nerdy links like the email and website are in the episode description as always. And don't forget, you can also call or text the Nerd Line. That number is in the description as well. That's all for now. Let's get back to the show.
All right. Well, that is going to bring us to the end of yet another awesome discussion. Does anyone else have anything they want to add in on anything they didn't get to say? Anything like that about this awesome franchise?
I have one thing. If we were all going to cosplay the characters from Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, who would you cosplay? Let's see if we can't get this to be a thing. I see Dr. Grant right there.
I'm Grant.
See, actually, Ian was rocking a pretty awesome beard in his cameo in the second Jurassic World movie. So I could probably pull off an Ian Malcolm.
I don't think it was as awesome as yours. Yours quite long.
Quite true.
Quite true.
I would personally dress up as one of the raptors.
I was gonna say, if you didn't say that, I was gonna say you would have to be Owen. I would love, like, you could do a.
Well, Owen's is a big, muscly dude, and I mean, my arms are that big.
Does not matter. Owen had to start somewhere. And look, and here's the thing too: we can all dress up as raptors, and you could be Owen just training us. Like we're the 4 raptors. I'll be blue.
We'll just get those dinosaur outfit things.
Yeah,
the full body dinosaur outfit things.
You could be Owen, just holding up your hand, like, nope. Stay back.
Just don't give him a motorcycle because I don't think I can keep up at this point.
Yeah.
Just give him a bicycle. Just a bicycle.
Electric. I can't ride John Hammond.
Well, you have the sad part of Jurassic World when they blow Delta up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's John Hammond, Jay?
I was saying that Beard could be John Hammond too.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were saying Frank was because he's the oldest one here. He's the fossil. But,
well,
you know.
no, like the way I look and even my thinning hair would look perfect for him. I just have to dye my hair and my beard gray or white.
Get the
fake. No, just be John Hammond from the second movie, and then you can carry a bed with you all day.
And then or I could actually throw on some glasses and shave my beard, and I could be Newman. That Hawaiian shirt.
I don't even know who I would be.
You should be Owen.
Definitely. I agree.
I know you don't like Chris Pratt as much as I do, but I really do think you should do Owen Grady.
You could do a Star-Lord too, though. You really could.
I have.
Yeah, he has. Yeah.
I've never seen that photo.
Switch them out. Do Owen the first day and then Star-Lord the second day. You're the same character.
Yeah. And then the third day he could be both, and he'll be the Lego guy.
Or he could be Mario.
God!
I will put this on record right now in this recording. If you do Owen Grady, I will go shirtless and dye all of my skin gray to be Drax to your Star-Lord. I will shave my head, shave my beard, dye my whole upper torso gray, and put in the little red stuff, and I'll be the Drax to your Star-Lord if you'll be Owen Grady. Sometime in the near future, we got to make it happen.
Okay.
You know,
if you're listening to this in the future, when we have the Raptor guys up in space, that happened.
I'll be Taserface.
Taserface.
Mine could be
but for real, Beard would rock Taserface. It would be stellar.
You would rock Taser, and Solomon could rock an awesome rocket.
Yeah, Dad could be Groot because he's so tall.
Yeah, and Frank could be Groot. There you go. Mama Bear could do Nebula or Gamora, one of the two.
I was going to volunteer to be Yondu, man.
Oh, love Yondu. Met him. He's so fun.
I mean, Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins, y'all.
Yeah.
I'll be the whistle.
I'll be the whistle. All right, guys. Well, we really enjoyed having So Geeking Cool on the cast. Look forward to working with y'all much more in the future. Y'all can go and check them out on YouTube and Spotify. Links in the description, along with our links as always. Really appreciate y'all. Can't wait to see y'all at Mississippi Comic-Con as well. We're gonna hang out, have some good old times. Jay, love seeing you as well as always. Can't wait to see you in Jackson. And Beard is finally coming back to Jackson to hang out with all of us. Until next time, I've been the Bear.
I've been the Beard.
We want to remind you, as always, to stay awesome,
stay bearded,
and much love, everybody. Love. We are out of here.
Boom, cut the check.
All right.
Another episode done. We hope you enjoyed it. New episodes are released every other Friday at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. Check back then or subscribe so that your device downloads it automatically. Audio episodes are now available pretty much anywhere you get your podcasts, so it's really easy to share them with all your nerdy friends. For YouTube viewers, subscribe and click the little bell so you're notified about all our new content. And Apple users, please don't forget to rate and review on the app. That helps more nerds find us. Links to talk nerdy to us can be found in the episode description as always. You can chat with the Bear, the Beard, or the rest of the Bearded Bear team, head researcher and graphic designer, Mama Bear, the master of marketing, Han Bralo, or the social media sorcerer, Nerd Squatch. Huge thanks to them and all of the geeks of the round table and friends of the cast. Much love y'all. Lastly, for more cool music like this awesome new outro track, go check out HarlequinSoul. Secret Apex on Facebook, and Spotify. His links are in the description as well. Talk at you next episode, nerds. See you then.
Are you a fan or just pretend? I'd like to know if you're a friend or an enemy. If so, stay away from wrong me. Welcome to the end. Are you a fan or just pretend? I'd like to know if...
All right.
You got any good jokes for us?
I do have a good joke for you. You ready? What do you get when you cross a dinosaur with a pig? Jurassic Pork. We're out of here.